It's late. You're exhausted. Your eyes are stinging, and you have to be up early. You told yourself half an hour ago that you were going to sleep. And yet, here you are. Thumb moving on its own. Scrolling. You're not even enjoying it anymore. You're not laughing. You're not learning. You're barely awake. You're just feeding it. Watching things you won't remember, by a person you'll never meet, about a life that isn't yours. And some quiet part of you is screaming, put the phone down, but your hand just keeps going. So tonight, let's answer the question you've asked yourself 100 times. Why can't you put your phone down, even when you genuinely hate that you can't? Because the answer is not that you're weak. The answer is that you are in a fight you were never built to win. First, it's not just you, and it's not a character flaw. Across the whole world, right now, millions of exhausted people are doing the exact same thing. Lying in the dark, hating it, scrolling anyway. If willpower were the answer, it would have worked by now. You've tried. You've promised yourself. And it keeps happening. Therefore, the problem cannot simply be that you lack discipline. Something else is going on. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So let's name the thing in your hand for what it actually is. That phone is not a tool sitting there politely waiting for you. It is a machine, designed, deliberately, brilliantly, expensively, to capture as much of your attention as humanly possible. And the single best model for understanding it isn't a telephone. It's a slot machine. Think about how a slot machine works. You pull the lever, and most of the time, nothing. But every so often, unpredictably, you win. And that unpredictability is the whole trick. Our brains are wired to go a little crazy over rewards that come at random. If you knew you'd win every time, you'd get bored. If you knew you'd never win, you'd quit. But maybe this time, that tiny, flickering maybe is the most addictive feeling a brain can produce. Scientists call it a variable reward, and it is the most powerful behavioral hook ever discovered. Now look at what you actually do with your phone. You pull down to refresh. That's the lever. Most of what loads is nothing. But every so often, a like, a funny clip, a message from someone you care about, a tiny jackpot of feeling. You don't know when it's coming. So you keep pulling. Refresh. Scroll. Refresh. You are, quite literally, playing a slot machine. Except this one is in your pocket, it's free to pull, and it never closes. That endless feed in your hand was engineered to be a casino you carry everywhere. And here is the part that explains why you keep going even when it isn't fun. We tend to think we chase pleasure. But the chemical really running the show, dopamine, isn't actually the chemical of pleasure. It's the chemical of wanting, of anticipation, of the next one might be good. Dopamine doesn't spike when you get the reward. It spikes before, in the chase. Which means your brain can keep you hunting, refreshing, scrolling, craving, long after the actual enjoyment is gone. That's the eerie feeling you know so well. Still scrolling, not even liking it. That's not a glitch. That's the machine working exactly as designed. The wanting outlived the liking. But it gets worse, because they didn't stop at the slot machine. Look closer, and the whole thing is covered in hooks. Those little red notification badges. Red is the color of alarm, of urgency, designed to nag at you until you tap. Pull to refresh copies the slot lever on purpose. Autoplay and infinite scroll remove the natural stopping point. Your brain needs to quit. The feed simply never ends, so you never hit the moment that says, okay, done. One of the engineers who invented infinite scroll has since publicly apologized for it, because he watched it quietly eat billions of hours of human life. None of this is an accident. Every swipe, every color, every buzz was tested and tuned by some of the smartest designers on the planet, whose entire job is to keep you on that screen one more minute. And that's the real fight you're in. On one side, you, tired, at the end of a long day, running on willpower that's already half gone. On the other side, a trillion-dollar industry, thousands of brilliant engineers, supercomputers, and decades of psychology research, all aimed at one target: your attention. So when you lie there at night losing the battle against a glowing rectangle, please understand what's really happening. You are not weak. You are a single, exhausted human going up against the most sophisticated persuasion machine ever built. That was never a fair fight. Blaming your willpower is like blaming yourself for not outswimming the ocean. And the cost of losing it, quietly, is enormous. It's not just the hours, though it is a staggering number of hours. It's what those hours do to you. You wake up and reach for it before your eyes are even open. You can't sit in a queue, or an elevator, or a single quiet moment without grabbing it. You start a movie and watch it through a second screen. And slowly, you notice something scary. You can't focus the way you used to. A book feels impossible. Your attention has been chopped into little pieces and fed into the machine, and the stillness you used to be comfortable in now feels unbearable. The phone didn't just take your time. It rewired what your mind can do with quiet. So, here's the turn, and it's the thing that changes everything. The reason you keep failing to just use less willpower is that willpower was never the right tool. You will not win a willpower fight against a machine built by thousands of people specifically to defeat your willpower. That's not the move. The move is to stop fighting on their battlefield. Because here's the secret the designers don't want you to sit with. The machine is powerful, but it is also stupid. It can only pull you in if it's within reach. So you don't beat it with discipline. You beat it with distance and friction. And the fixes are almost embarrassingly simple because they target the environment, not your self-control. Charge your phone in another room overnight. So the first and last thing you touch each day isn't the slot machine. Turn off notifications, all of them, so it can't reach out and yank you. Turn the screen to grayscale. Strip out the candy colors and watch how fast it gets boring. Delete the 1 or 2 apps you lose hours to. You can always reinstall, and the friction alone breaks the spell. You're not trying to win the fight. You're quietly walking off the battlefield. Make the machine just a little harder to reach, and your real attention comes flooding back on its own. But before any of that, hear this, because it matters more than any tip. The fact that some part of you hates this, the fact that you lie there wishing you could stop, that is not weakness. That is the best part of you, still awake. That quiet voice screaming, "Put it down," is your real self, the one that knows there are better things to do with a precious, limited life. People who are truly lost don't feel that pull to stop. You do. You're not addicted because you're broken or shallow. You're being targeted, expertly, by some of the most persuasive technology ever created, and you're still fighting back. That's not failure. That's a person whose deeper self refuses to be fully captured. And that's worth respecting. So tonight, look at the glowing rectangle in your hand. Not with shame. You've done nothing wrong. Just see it for what it is. A beautifully built little casino, hoping you'll stay one more spin. And then, maybe, set it on the table, screen down, and walk to bed. Not because you should, but because your attention, what you look at, what you give your one wild and limited life to, is genuinely the most valuable thing you own. And it belongs to you, not to them. If this felt a little too familiar, you're in good company. There's a whole crowd of us trying to win our minds back, together. So stick around. We make these for nights like this. Now go put your phone down. You'll feel it tomorrow.